welcome back to this Zeros to Heroes series. And in this series, we'll be talking about PHP operators. Operators are used to perform operations on variables and values. So PHP divides the operators into groups. And in this tutorial, we'll be seeing the different groups of PHP operators and how we can work with them. So the first one which we'll be talking about is arithmetic operators. Now, arithmetic operators are used with numeric values to perform common arithmetic operations, such as addition, subtraction, and multiplication. Now, first of all, let's work with the addition operator. And if we have a value, it's as simple as having a value, like, let us say, let's declare a variable, and we'll say first equals 9, and then we'll say second equals 15. And then let's use the addition operator, which is the plus sign. The plus sign is the addition operator, and then we just say plus second. So if we save this and we refresh our page, we got 24. Now for the subtraction is basically minus. And if we save that, we have minus 6. And for the multiplication, you use the asterisk sign. And if you save that, you should get 135. And the division is the backslash. And if you save that, you get 0.6. Now, apart from the four basic arithmetic operators which we've talked about, that is the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, we have the modulus. Now the modulus gives you the remainder of this operation. So to use the modulus, all you need to use is the percent sign. And if you save this and refresh your page, you get 9. That's the remainder. And if you want to test this, you can say second, and then you can put first here. And if you refresh, you get 6. So, apart from the modulus, there is another operator which gives you the result of raising a number to the power of another number. And that is exponentiation. So how do we work with this? It's the multiplication sign in 2 places. So if we save this and we refresh this page, you can see, what does this do? It calculates this raised to the power of this. This raised to the power of this. That is what it does. So those are the arithmetic operators in PHP. The addition to add 2 numbers, the subtraction to find the difference of x and y, or first and second, the multiplication to find the product of first and second, the division, which is the quotient of first and second, the modulus, which is the remainder of first and second, and the exponentiation, which is the result of raising first to the power, to the second power. That is how it works. Now let's talk about assignment operators. In PHP, we've been working with an assignment operator ever since the beginning of this tutorial, which is the equal sign. Now, the equal sign helps you to assign the value on the right side to the variable on the left. So that is what the equal sign does. it means that the left operand gets set to the value of the assignment expression on the right. That is what it does. Now, apart from the equal sign in PHP, you can actually do a lot of things with these. Like here, we could say that just like we have here, we could assign this value, or we can assign this value. If we say, let's say multiply, we can assign it to another variable here and say result. So here we can actually echo that result. And what we've done here is that apart from assigning this value to this variable, we are also assigning the result of this to this variable with the equal sign operator. So that is operator, that is assignment operator in PHP. You can use the assignment operator to assign values. We have comparison operators. That is another type of operator. We have comparison operator. The comparison operator in PHP are used to compare two values, whether numbers or strings. So how do we do this? So for the equal operator, let us say if this first is equal to second, it should return true. It should tell us that it's true. But if it's not equal to second, it should tell us false. So we're trying to test this equal operator. So let's refresh our page here, and you can see that it is false. First is not equal to second. But if we change this to 9 and save and refresh, you can see that it is giving us true, because 9 and 9 are equal. So let's get back to 15, and then let us say identical, which is the 3 equal sign. And if we do this, we still have false, because both of them are not identical and they are not equal. So if we come here and say not equal, which is the exclamation mark and equals to, and then we refresh our page, we should get true, because first is not equal to second. And then another not equal is this, not equal. And if we refresh this page, you still have true, because it's still not equal to first, is still not equal to second. And then we have not identical, which is exclamation and double equals. So if we refresh this page, you're still going to get true, because they are not identical. Another one is the greater than sign, greater than. So if we say first is greater than second, if you refresh the page, you will get false, because second is actually greater than first. And then we have the less than, which is this sign. And if you refresh the page, you will get true, because first is less than second. And there are other signs like greater than equals or equal to, which you have greater than equals. And if we refresh this, you will still get false, because first is not greater than and it's not equal. And in the same vein, we have less than and equal. So if we refresh now, it is less than, first is less than second, but it is not equal to second. So you get true. Now, apart from these, you have space shift. This is not commonly used, but we want to talk about it. And this is space shift. Now, this returns an integer that is less than, equal to, or greater than 0, depending on the value of your variables. So, if we refresh this page now, because we're using true or false here, you wouldn't see the integer which is returned. Okay? But space shift actually returns an integer that is less than, equal to, or greater than 0, depending on the values of your variables. Now let's talk we have increment and decrement operators in PHP. And for the increment and decrement, increment operators are used to increment a variable's value. And the decrement operators are used to decrement a variable's value, that is reduce and increase. So in these, we have two major types of increment and decrement, which is pre and post. So pre-increment, when you talk about pre-increment increases the value by 1, then returns that value. While post-increment returns the value, then increments it by 1. So this is first of all increment, then returns. But for post, it first returns, then increment. Now we're going to see the both ways play out now. Now let's say if first is equal to second, then this is, here we are trying to pre-increment by adding the plus sign first and then the variable. So we are telling it to increase the value of first variable. But if it's not true, then increase the value of second variable. So what we're going to do here is that to see this play out, let us just say this is less than second. If first is less than second, then echo first, but increment it first before you return the value. So if we refresh, we get 10. You know the first value is 9, then it adds 1 to it and then returns 10. That is what the pre-increment does for you. But if it's the post-increment, if we try to remove this from here and add it here, it returns the value first before it has anything to it. And for you to see that, refresh this page now, we still get 9 because it's returning the value first before it's working on the increment. So in this situation, if you want to get an increased value, it's better to use pre-increment. If you refresh this page now, you'll get a value of 10. For us to use post-increment, increment and decrement operators in PHP. Now let's quickly do, this is for increment. Now let's check out the decrement. If we want to decrease, we can use the double minus. And if we use the double minus on this expression or on this condition, and we refresh our page, you should get 8. You see that? Because we are pre-decreasing this value. We're using pre-decrement to decrease this value before it is being output to the screen. And that is post-increment and post-decrement or pre-decrement. So how does it work? For the increment, you use the double plus. For the decrement, we use the double minus. And that is how it's been done. So now let's talk about logical operators in PHP. Logical operators in PHP. So what do we mean by logical operators? Logical operators are used to combine conditional statements. They are used to combine conditional statements. When you want to combine, this is a conditional statement, this. So if I want to combine conditional statements, I can use, if this first is less than second, we can use, one of the conditions which we can use is the and. And first is not equal to second. So this statement right here uses a logical operator, and this is the logic here. This is the logical operator, and. Now, apart from this and, we have or. This is another logical operator. And apart from this or, you can still use 0. And this true if either first or second is true, but not both. Either first or second is true, but not both. It doesn't work on both. Now, for or, is either first or second is true. For this or, it's either this first expression, or this second expression is true. And if you want to use the and, this is true if both are true. It's going to check for both conditions. That is, it's going to check for this condition first, and it's going to check for this condition, and both of them must be true. Now, the shorthand version for these operators are like this. And for and, you use the double hand sign like this. This is the same thing with hand. It's the shorthand version of hand. Now, for the or statement, you use this sign for the or statement. Now, for the not statement, all you need to do is not. The exclamation mark will do that for you. That is a not statement. So that is logical operators in PHP. Now let's quickly look at string operators. We have string operators, and string are basically concatenation and assignment. Now, how do we concatenate strings? We can actually concatenate strings by using the dot, the full stop, or period. That is concatenation. Now, what does it do for you? The concatenation actually helps you to, let us use the echo statement here, and we can just say echo first, second. Now, what does this mean? It adds the both together. Both first and second, it puts them together on the same, like you can see that first is 9 and second is 15. So it makes them one single word or one single sentence or one single statement. So if we actually say that first, if I say this is, and for second, if I say boy, and we refresh this page, you will get this is a boy. You see that? This is a boy. That is what the concatenation does for you. Now, I'll quickly talk about the array operators before we talk about the conditional assignment. Now, for array operators are very similar to the operators which we've talked about previously. Now, for array operators, we have the single plus sign, which is the union. The union of, it could be the union of two numbers, two values, like x and y, like first and second. That is array operator. And you have the double equal. You have the double equal. That is the equality. It shows you that these are equal. They have key value pairs. Array works with key value pairs, and they are equal. You have the identical also, which is these three signs, the three equal signs. And this returns true if first and second have the same key value pairs in the same order and of the same type, if they are the same type. So we have the inequality also, which is not equals. We have the inequality, which returns true if first is not equal to second. And then we have the inequality, which is like the other one which we talked about, which returns true if first is not equal to second. And we have not identity, non-identity, or non-identical. So the non-identity is this, and returns true if first is not identical to second. So that is how the array operators work. And then we have the conditional assignment operators. Conditional assignment operators. And this is useful for conditional statements. Let's see what we can do. Let me just explain one of them. This sign, which you have here, is called the ternary. We will see more of this in our conditional statement. This is called ternary, and ternary returns the value of first. The value, let me write out the expression so that we can see how this expression goes. So let me say name is first, and then you put the ternary, and then you put the second expression, second, and then you put this, and then you put the third expression, which could be third. So this expression here is a simple example of how ternary operators works. You put your first expression, you put the question mark sign, the second expression, and then you put the third expression. This is a ternary statement. This is the way ternary operators work. We're going to see the practical effect of this shortly. Now, we have another conditional assignment operator, which is called null collecting. Null collecting. Null collecting is simply used as double question mark. And this doesn't need to have a third expression. It doesn't need to have a third expression. So this should be double. What does this do? It returns the value of first. The value of first is expression 1. If expression 1 exists and is not null, but if expression 1, this first expression, if it does not exist or is null, then this returns the second expression. So that will be called for operators in PHP, and I will see you in the next one.